Lots of people buy the Jeep Wrangler to go exploring rocky, muddy trails in the middle of nowhere. But there are also plenty of people who buy it just to use as their regular everyday SUV. With this all-new JL generation of the Wrangler, Jeep claims it has improved on everyday livability for those types of buyers. Let's find out if that's the case. This is the most daily driver-focused version of the new Wrangler. For starters, it's the 4-door Unlimited model, which makes up about 80% of Wrangler sales, and it's the Sahara trim level, which falls midway in between the somewhat stripped-out Sport trim and the ready-to-rumble Rubicon. It even has the new for 2018 powered convertible soft top, which is a $4,000 option. Now, it doesn't come all the way off like the standard manual soft top, but it does make it a little bit easier to get some UV rays in the cabin at the touch of a button. One thing I don't like so much about this top though is that so many of its interior panels are unpainted. The rest of the Sahara's interior though is actually really nicely trimmed with things like leather-wrapped steering wheel, the stitched leather dash topper, and this glossy grey trim over on the dashboard. Now, it's still pretty rugged and utilitarian in here, but you can really tell that Jeep's designers worked to modernize the Wrangler's cabin. It also has Jeep's excellent Uconnect touchscreen infotainment system. We do a full rundown of the tech in a separate video. And of course, you can still fold down the windshield or take off the doors easily by using this included toolset. In the back of the Wrangler Unlimited, there's an extra inch of legroom this year because the wheelbase of the whole vehicle has increased by 1.5 inches. That means that regular-sized adults like myself have plenty of room to stretch out. Cargo space behind those seats is essentially unchanged from last year at 31.7 cubic feet. Just for reference, that's midway between the amount of space you get in a Jeep Cherokee and a Jeep Grand Cherokee. Of course, you can fold down the back seats for more room, and there's a hidden storage cubby under the carpet. From behind the wheel, the new Wrangler feels like a huge improvement straight away. It's quieter, the ride quality is more comfortable, it's definitely the most civilized Wrangler I've ever driven. All of the windows are larger too, so you get better visibility in every direction, and you finally get useful driver aids like blind spot monitoring and a backup camera. Jeep engineers even managed to shrink the Wrangler's massive turning circle so it's just a little more wieldy in the city. It's plenty quick too. A 3.6-litre V6 engine is standard, but this model has the new turbocharged 2-litre inline-4. It has 270 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque, which is more torque than the V6, and it's delivered sooner at just 3,000 RPM, so you get plenty of power all the time for those real-world passing maneuvers. It also helps that the automatic transmission now has 8 speeds instead of 5, making the Wrangler feel much more responsive. The 2-litre engine also has a mild hybrid system, which gives it a little bit more get up and go off the line, helps make the stop-start system work a little more smoothly, and helps save a bit of gas. Fuel economy with this engine is rated at 22 miles per gallon in the city and 24 miles per gallon highway, and I came pretty close to those figures in my testing. Now, those aren't incredible figures in the grand scheme of things among SUVs, but they're really good for a Wrangler. The best the last model could do was 17 city and 21 highway. The downside is, though, that this new turbo engine does require premium fuel. The Wrangler went on a big diet this year with aluminum bodywork and more high-strength steel in the frame, but because it's longer and has more features, not every trim level is actually any lighter than before. The Sahara, for instance, is a little bit heavier at about 4,400 pounds according to Jeep. That said, it's really impressive how well it drives considering it didn't actually lose any weight. And of course, it can still go off-road. While the Rubicon model is tougher, this Wrangler Sahara still has 10 inches of ground clearance, a transfer case with low range, it can ford 30 inches of water. It'll go places that something like a Honda Pilot just won't. If you want a more thorough look at how this thing copes on off-road trails, my colleague Emmy put a Wrangler Rubicon to the test, and you can find that in a separate video. Of course, all that wilderness capability does result in a few compromises on the road. The brake pedal is so soft and there's loads of dive under hard braking. The steering tends to wander and needs constant correction. If there was ever a vehicle that needs lane keep assist, it's this. And though it's much improved from before, the suspension still clumps over big bumps, and the super boxy exterior styling still means there's more wind noise on the highway than I'd like from an SUV at this price point. The 2018 Jeep Wrangler starts at $29,000 for the two-door sport model, but prices rise really quickly when you add options. This four-door Sahara starts at $38,000, but with all the features shown here, it's over $49,000. On the one hand, what other SUV at this price point is so capable off-road? But on the other, that does start to feel like a lot of money to spend on a vehicle that you can take apart so easily. Still, the new Jeep Wrangler shows a marked improvement in everyday on-road livability. It still has all the capability and off-roadiness that enthusiasts want, while making life a little bit easier for casual commuters. That's a great improvement whether you plan on getting it muddy or not.